was in Los Angeles. I interviewed an informant who gave us a description of some violent activity transpiring in Detroit, and some of the intelligence that we were picking up on indicated many drug organizations operating in Detroit, and that there was a mafia operating in Detroit, what they call a black mafia.
2 cases in Miami involving $20 million for heroin we beat. Well, she knew the federal rally from her boyfriend, and you mentioned the boyfriend yesterday. This girl introduced me to Frank Morales, and I had my own plane. At that time, I had my own plane. I had a Cessna 441, pressurized, old seat 9. I started flying into Durango to see Frank Morales. But we would, like I told you, we would drop under the radar when it didn't sweep. Before you can make your flight plan from from Michigan or Chicago to California, and once you get to California, you drop below. So you drop below and go over, and I always go fly right into Durango and go straight to Frank Morales' home and do my thing. Then I would bring it back here and sell it, you know. He flew privately for different people, but the main people he flew for was Ray Charles, and he flew for somebody else. I think it may have been the Prime Minister of Bahamas. I can't remember, but he was a very good pilot. He was a Scott pilot for the Air Force.
Walk us through. You land in Mexico and you go to a federale's house to get heroin.
Right, and that federal.
Like what was that?
Okay, his house. Like? He had a real nice house too. It's like Beverly Hills. I mean, they had the gates and the nice.
Tijuana or?
No, it was Durango, Culiacan and Durango.
Oh, Culiacan, that's the capital of Sinaloa. That's where the Sinaloa cartel. So you were going.
But they wasn't Sinaloa cartel back then.
Culturally, people took the job because they weren't going to pay you enough. They knew you were going to steal. I mean, that was in the culture.
So you were going to Sinaloa, Culiacan. Culiacan is the city where El Chapo's son, they just tried to take him into custody.
Right.
You were going there in the early 70s.
Right.
And getting Mexican heroin directly from a Mexican federale.
Right. Yep. Then I would bring it back here and sell it, you know. And then eventually I became so big, my uncle and them started copying from me. This was, I think, why they put me on the top 10 of North America. It was coming from Bangkok.
And you were moving it through Africa?
No, I was moving it through Africa and Jamaica. And then sometime I get stuff directly out of Pakistan.
How are you meeting, you know?
I'm gonna tell you how I met the Thai cadet. I got to think, my father taught us when we was very young fishing, and I love fishing. So I went from fishing in the river to sports fishing for marlin and sailfish and like that. So one time I was in Bahamas. The Bahamas have a tournament for marlin. Whoever catch the biggest marlin win $300,000. So when I get in, I used to rent the villa. Once I rent the villa, I go to the fishing port, and I would pick a boat. And then my favorite boat was the Hatteras sports fishing boat with the tuna tower. So I would pick the boat, and so usually they take groups. I didn't want to take the group. It was like a 40, maybe it was a 40-some foot Hatteras sports fishing boat. I hired the whole boat. So when I went there, the same guy was trying to rent the boat for him and his wife, and he happened to be a Thai. So what I told him, I said, well, why don't we just share it? So me and my wife and me and him, we shared it, and so we became friends. Once we became friends,
hey, what are you doing for a living?
Right. Then that's how it started. And then he was the man in Bangkok.
Was he connected with the government probably?
Yeah, he was government connected because I think we had to have the papers. The papers I had for the importing of the rice, I think the government had to be involved. He was telling me. When I got arrested in Miami, see, I knew something was wrong when the plane. We were supposed to land in Philly. I had somebody in Philly to take the stuff off the airport. I mean, out of the off the plane, the luggage off the plane, and then take it home, and then I get it because I had my Thai Connect would take the big Samsonite luggage and he would make the stuff inside the luggage. I had connects in St. Croix that did the same, and I had connects in Philly. But when I knew that plane landed in Miami, I knew something was wrong.
Oh, it wasn't supposed to stop.
No, it wasn't supposed to stop. It was supposed to go from Jamaica to Philly.
Non-stop.
And they was waiting on me in Philly, non-stop. It stopped in Miami. I knew something was wrong then.
Where were you at? And you were in Jamaica.
No, I was on the plane. I was overseeing everything.
Oh, you weren't gonna grab the luggage, but you're just.
No, look, it was. I had ladies to grab the
But
luggage.
you were on the plane to just direct.
Oversee.
Okay.
I was overseeing everything.
So they come and take you off the plane.
Yeah, they came and took us all off the plane, and then.
So you never took possession of it. Nobody did.
No, what happened was they took the luggage. They knew. Somebody had to tell them because they took the luggage. Then they took it in the back room and they drilled in it, and they poured out, and then they
How
tested the
much was
substance. It had to been about 97.4 pure heroin number 4. They said it was worth 20 million. Charged for importation into the country, importation with the attempt to distribute, and importation on the plane. What it was, the Samsonite luggage, it had lady clothes in it, so they knew, So they asked whose luggage this was. After a while, after they poked the thing in and found out it was heroin in it, so I said it's mine.
You took the.
I took again. I 3 times I did this. I say it's my luggage. So they arrested me. And Robert Mann at that time was our personal lawyer, and he had them change that because that's 2 charges. It's the same, importing on the plane and importing to the country. So it was 1, 2, and 3. So he got rid of 2, and then he made him say 1, 2. So he didn't want the jury to know it was a 3rd charge left. So we went to trial on it, and we won.
How? Okay, so if you say that's mine, how the hell do you win at a trial?
Because I took it to trial.
But what was the grounds to beat it at trial? If you
They didn't believe me. What I said was. Let me see. What I said was when we went to trial, I said I had met these white boys in Hollywood that approached me to pick up some luggage in Miami. That's how I think I got out of it.
Oh.
I came up with a story. I said they approached me to pick up some luggage in Jamaica.
So you played the
No,
victim.
yeah, you have to play the victim. I said they told me to pick, they was in Jamaica vacationing, and they had some luggage, and they wanted me to take the luggage, you know what I'm talking about? Back then, I looked so young back then. I looked so young in the way I carried myself, and then every time the prosecutor would say something derogatory about me, I would shake my head like that, and in fact, he told the judge, say, will you tell him to stop shaking his head? Because the jury believed me.
Sympathetic.
The jury believed, this is what the jury believed, I think. This is just my philosophy. I think the jury believed because I looked like I was about 15 or 16 back then. The jury believed that how can this young guy be involved with $20 million worth of heroin, some stuff coming from Bangkok and all that. They didn't believe the story that the prosecutor was trying to say. They believed Mann's story. And then I played the part because I wore the same clothes every day to the jury. I was acting like they gave me bond. I was on the federal radar anyway, but remember now, I was on the federal radar and I had moved to California, and I moved half my family to California.
Oh, before this arrest.
And we had a manufacturing company and all that in California. And then I moved my sister, they was going to college out there and everything. So
they knew who you were, but you had no arrest yet, so they
I had
couldn't
no
really tell the
arrest.
jury.
Remember, we had beat the government 5 times. 3 jury trials.
This was the
2
first
dismissals.
time.
This was, I think this was the first time. Then it was the second case in Miami.
Okay, so that happened right after that?
The second case in Miami was involving my mom.
Tell us about that.
Well,
As much as you want.
no, I don't
Did
like
they charge her with something?
Yeah, they charged her. And in fact, she went to jury trial and she won.
You guys, Eddie Jackson, you guys were going, you did even better than him, but you guys were going you were taking these top black criminal defense attorneys and going toe-to-toe with the government and winning.
Yeah, we was winning. Yeah, we was winning. We would hire the best attorneys. If you hire the best attorneys and have the money, because they used to dealing with peons. It's because the government does, they be overzealous trying to beat the case. They do so much stuff wrong.
Started a case out in the Pontiac, Detroit area, and ended up being the YBI Young Boys Inc. case. And he ended up indicting that case. Within that Young Boys Inc., they had a group called the Pony Down. They had certain little crews that were dealing dope.